This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, in today's session, we're going to discuss about operator overloading. Before going to the operator overloading, you should know what is a class, how to create a object, what is the use of self keyword. Okay, these are things you should know. Then only you can able to understand the operator overloading. Now, I'm going to say what is a class. Class is nothing but your blueprint. Class is nothing but your blueprint. Okay, if anyone asks about class, you can say blueprint of, or you can say it's a blueprint of object. You can say okay, and then using the class, you can able to create an object. You can able to create a object. In that class, what are things will be there? In your class, you can have methods, or you can say functions and variables you have, and then you have one more thing that is called constructors. These are things available in the class. In the world, if you take anything, everything is an object. Everything is an object. Python is your object oriented programming language. That's why today I'm going to focus on class. Now I'm going to talk about, if you take any object, three things will be there. Three things will be there. One is state, another one is behavior, third one is identity. Okay, now I'm going to say what is state. State is nothing but represent the properties or attributes of an object. You can say variables. For example, I can say, if I take a human being, hair will be a variable. Hair color equal to black. Okay, and hair color is equal to variable, and then black is going to the value. Okay, state is nothing but I going to represent the properties or attributes of an object. It is represented by instance variables. The variables which are declared outside the method, then we can say the variable is called instance variables. Okay, if the variable is used inside the method, then we can say the variable is called local variables. If we declare outside the method, then we can say instant variables. Okay, and then the first thing is we're going to the state. State is going to represent the properties. Hair color equal to black, legs equal to 4. Okay, these are the various states. Now, next thing I'm going to talk about the behavior. In the object, three things will be there. One is state, second one is behavior. Behavior is nothing but I can say methods. Okay, if I talk about human being, I can say sleeping, walking, eating. These are the behaviors for a human being, right? That's why I'm saying it's a behavior. Another name in Java will be, Java and Python will be methods, or you can say it's functions. Okay, and third thing will be identity. Identity will be for each object. If you have a class, you can create an object. See, if you have a class, you can create an object. In the class, three things will be there. One will be constructors, another will be variables, another will be methods. If for the entire class I can able to create an object, for each object there will be some unique name, that will be the identity for that object. That will be the identity for the particular object. You might have a question, can I able to create multiple objects for same class? Yeah, you can able to create multiple objects for same class. You can get n number of objects for same class. Okay, but each object will take different memory allocation. If you are creating object, you should keep in mind, for each object the memory is going to be allocated. Okay, if I create a same class different objects, different memory allocation is going to happen for a same class. Okay, and then for each object you should have a unique name. You should not keep same name for different objects, because for same class I going to create different objects, the object name should be different. That's why it's called identity. Identity means for each object you should have a different unique name. That is called identity. Now, for this characteristics, object has three characteristics. One is state, and another name is variables. Behavior means methods. Identity means for each object there will be a one identity will be there. Identity will be there. That should be unique name for each object. For example, your name is Sam. Your name is Sam. What is identity? You will say your father name will be identity for you. Your husband name will be identity for you. Okay, that's why for different objects there should be a unique name should be there. For each object you should have a unique name should be there. You should not keep same name for different objects. Okay, now I'm going to show some real-time example for these three characteristics. The first character is state, second character is behavior, third is identity. Okay, now look at the state. The state, another name I can say properties. Properties means I can say somewhat black hair, black eyes, white skin, 6 feet tall, 50 kg. These are all the values for a particular variable. Right? This I can say state. How we will represent the state? Hair color equal to black, eye color equal to black, skin color equal to white, and the height equal to 6 feet, weight equal to 50 kg. Like this, you will represent the state in terms of variables. In terms of variables, the another name you can say it's attributes. You can say attributes, or you can say it is a variables. Both are same meaning. Okay. Now, what's the next characteristics? Behavior. What's the next characteristics? Behavior. Okay. It's in recording or not? Yeah. Okay, it's in recording. Next one is behavior. Behavior means methods. Eating, sleeping, walking, playing, studying. These are the behavior or actions I want to represent in terms of some. I have to use some brackets. I can say it's a methods or I can say it's functions. Eating, sleeping, walking, playing, studying. Okay. The one question I'm going to ask, if I want to create an object, which one is mandatory? We should have a class. Without class, we can't able to create any single object. In the class, we have three characters we have. Okay, for example, if we want to create a object for a particular class, we should have three characteristics. One is state, another one is behavior, third one is identity. If I after creating an object for a particular class, I should give some unique name. Okay, these are the three characteristics of object in you can say in every language. You can say Java, you can Python. These are the three characteristics. Now I'm going to take one class. I'm going to have the name as operator overloading. Okay, operator over. Otherwise, do one thing. Have like operators, right? In that, I'm going to get one more class. I'm going to have the file name as creation of object. How to create an object for a particular class we're going to see now. After learning all these things, we're going for the operator overloading. Now, close all the tabs. I'm going to keep the classes. What class I can keep? Class equal to bakery. I given the class name as bakery. Okay, in the bakery, what you have? You have various cakes. You have various cakes and snacks. You have, right? I'm going to create the classes bakery. Now, yeah, cakes and sweets, everything will be available. Snacks also available. Now I'm creating classes bakery. Okay, in this class, I can have variables as well as methods as well as I have constructors. Okay, now if I want to create a empty class, there should not be any methods, there should not be any variables. You have to use one keyword called pass keyword. If you use this pass keyword in a method, you can create a empty empty method. Okay, as well as if you using the password in any other loops, you can just empty loop you can create. Like this, I'm going to create an empty class. Okay, if you are removing the pass keyword, it will throw compile time error. Okay, now what I going to do in this class, I going to have some variables and methods I going to have. Okay, now what I can say, can you give some cake name? Okay, what I'm trying to hear is
Black forest.
cake I added as 10 kg. Keep like this. Cake I ordered as 10 kg. Otherwise, I can make it like cake price. Snake case. I give an underscore, it will be snake case. Cake price will be somewhat 10 kg. This is going to be a variable. Now, create some method. What method I can do? Def means define, and then I can do like calculate cake price. Keep something like this. Calculate cake price. Now I'll come to the self keyword later. Black forest. Something and tell black forest price is 20 rupees. Something keep like this. 20 rupees. Now what you have to do, you can see method calculate static price may be static. Okay, now I'm going to say the difference what's use of self keyword and then what's use of static variables. I'm going to say it now. What it can do, remove all these things. I want to create a empty class. This is a pass statement. For this bakery class, I want to create an object. If you want to create object for this bakery class, what you have to do, you have to use a third characteristic identity. You have to give some any identity reference variable you have to give. Okay, I'm going m equal to, I'm going to use a class name to create an object. Now I created a object for this particular class. You might have a question, can I able to create multiple objects? Yeah, you can able to create, but you should have a unique identity for that particular object. I'm going to keep n equal to bakery. This is how you need to create the object. Now, how many objects are there? How many objects are there? How many objects?
Two objects.
Two objects are there. If you want to know the hash value of your object, just use id, just give the instance variable. You have after you have to say instance variable. Okay, instance. I will say this thing. You have to give the variable id of m. You got the value as this is the hash value for this particular object. Okay, now id of n. Now see here, for this object, the reference variable I can say, the reference variable I can say m is having the hash value of 241385627694. Okay, it's giving the memory address in terms of hash value, and then for this object it's giving the hash value. It will be a memory location. Actually, if you go to this memory location, you can see your objects. You can see your object is exist in this particular memory address. Okay, this is how you can get the hash value for a particular object. Now, two different objects are created for the same class. Can I have the same variable? Can I have same variable? You can have same variable, but it's pointing the same object. One object will be created. One object will be created. Now let's see. I'm going to make it CM. Let's see the hash value. Getting something hash value or not? Yeah. Now how many objects are created? Now how many objects are created? You can see
Zero
the
object.
console. Only one object is created. That's why we're giving a different reference variable. I can say it's a reference variable. Okay, in Java I will say it's a reference variable. Okay, for each object, this will be the reference, or you can say it's a pointer variable. You can say it's a pointer variable for this object. Now, I created two different objects, M and N object. M object and N object are created. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this pass keyword. Now, I'm going to create a method. Now I'm going to create a method. Okay, before creating a method, I want to say if you are creating an object, the memory will be allocated for this particular object. I have to say memory will be allocated for the, I can say it's a particular class object, particular class object, I can say. Now, after creating object, memory will be allocated. For this also, memory will be allocated. Now, I'm going to have one method, calculate gate price. Now, automatically, it's passing the first argument as, I ought to say it's a parameter. In Python, you will say it's parameter. Parameter, in Java, will say argument. Now, Python terms, you have to say it's a parameter. The first parameter will be self parameter. This self parameter refers to this class instance. Refers to this class instance. Now, what I going to do? Print ID of self. ID of self. Think carefully. You know all these things only you can able to code in your Python. Now, for this bakery, I created an object. The object reference will be M. If I want to call this method, I have to call like this. Use print statement M dot calculate cake price. This is how I want to call. Now, if I call this method, it's going to run the hash value for this parameter self. Now, I'm going to print ID of M. Now, you're going to see, leave this none because I have not used any return keyword over here. In my method, I have not used return keyword. That's why it's showing none. Leave this none. See this hash value. Both are same or different?
Same.
Same. Now what you have to think, if any of the caller calls this method, I am passing my class instance. I can say in Java reference variable, I can say a class instance. The class instance I passing to this self. Whichever you are getting self, you have to substitute. You have to substitute m. You have to substitute m. Now id of m will be this value, and then what I did here, for this object the class instance will be m. I printed the id of m. The both value will be same. See, whenever if they're using any self keyword, you have to pass this class instance instead of self. Substitute this value, what will get? Instead of self, what will get? You will get m. Here you will get m. M is nothing but your class instance.
Okay.
Nothing but your class instance. I think now I hope you understand this self keyword. See, instead of self, you have to substitute this class instance. In the simple layman terms, I will say to you, okay, I'll remove this object. I'll remove this thing as well. And then I'll remove this thing as well. First, look at the line number 7. I have class instance. And then for this class, I created the entire object. Okay. This method and variables, whatever variables and methods in this class, we take the for this entire class and methods, we will take the allocated memory. We're going to allocate the memory. If someone calls m equal to, if someone used m equal to bakery, this class instance search for this class where is bakery. Bakery class available. And then this class instance inside the bakery, it will search for calculate cake price. Inside the bakery, what we have? Function we have like calculate cake price. And then in this method, it's going to pack your class instance. Class instance means m. It's going to pack. Instead of self, you're going to pass m. Now the id of m will be, it's going to print hash value for this class instance. Now you might have a question, why it's giving none? Because I use some normal function. Definitely what you have to use, return keyword. If you are not using return keyword, it will give the additional output as none. None is nothing but somewhat like nothing. Okay, what I'm going to do now, id of self. Whenever caller calls this method, I'm going to pack the class instance. Instead of self, I'm going to pass m, and then I'm going to after calling this method, I'm going to return this id of self. The id of self value will be the hash value for the particular object. Now you can't able to see the none because I used return keyword. Okay, and then one more thing. Okay, this return, this method is returning only a int value, actually int value, right? Now I can explicitly, using the arrow token, I can mention the return type. If someone calls this method, the method is going to return here int value. Okay, like this you can use arrow token, and then you can mention the return type over here. If you let's see it show, the arrow mark will be int. Okay, if some of the developers using this method, they know this method is going to return here only a int value. Okay, now I'm going to pass size. How will you calculate cake price? In terms of weight only. Okay, I'm going to take one more parameter, weight parameter. Now I'm going to remove the return keyword. I'm going to use self dot weight equal to weight. Self dot weight equal to weight. And then I'm going to have one more print statement, self dot weight. If the caller calls this method, what value is going to give? In the calculate price, I want to pass weight parameters 20 kg. If the caller calls this method using class instance and then calculate cake price 20, what will happen if someone calls this method? It has to pack class instant instead of self. What I have to do? I have to pack the yum. Instead of weight, I want substitute 20. For your
Okay.
understanding, I can make a note over here. Whatever you have created object for particular class, that will be some class instance will be there. Okay, it will be a unique identity. It will be a unique identity for each objects. Now instead of self, I want to substitute yum, comma. Instead of weight, what I have to substitute? 20. Now you going to do substitution. Now substitute yum over here. Yum dot weight equal to weight value is substitute like this.
20.
M dot weight equal to 20. If I print this self dot weight, substitute M over here. M dot weight is substitute M over here. Where getting self keyword, you have to substitute the M. That is
Okay.
class instantiation. Okay, class instantiation. M dot weight value is 20 because previously you assigned M dot weight equal to this 20 will be substitute over here. M dot weight is 20. I am printing this M dot weight. Now, if you run this code, hold a minute, because I made a mistake over here. I want to comment this thing actually. Okay. Now, what's the value getting? 20. I am getting one more output as well. Weight. Why are you getting weight? Why are you getting none? Sorry, why are you getting none?
Because no, we don't use return key.
Because whenever using a normal function, you have to use the return keyword. Okay, return keyword. What I have to give? Self dot weight. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Okay, and then now I'm going to create one more object. N equal to, using class name, you can be able to create object. N equal to bakery. If you're creating an object for this particular class, the memory will be allocated for this function. Okay, now I created one more object. The class instance will be N. Now what I'm going to do? N dot I will take price. I'm going to order 40 kg weight. 40 kg weight. What I can do? I can do some calculations. One weight equal 1 kg equal to 1 kg equal to, like, I can keep like how much I can keep 200 rupees. Now I'm going to order 40 kg, 40 into 200. I have to get. I got the cake price is 8,000 rupees. The cake price is 8,000 rupees. Okay, and then for 20 kg, the cake price will be 4,000. Okay, I hope you have understood the self keyword. Now, I'm going to talk about the constructor now. I'm going to talk about the constructor. You might have a question, what is constructor? Whenever you create an object for a particular class, the interpreter will create a constructor internally. Will create a constructor internally. Constructor used to create an object. Okay, constructor only, it will create object. if someone saying it's object creation, you have to think for this particular class, I'm going to allocate the memory. In the class, I can have variables, I can have methods. For the center class, I'm going to have I'm going to create object. Object means I'm going to allocate some memory. That's it. Okay. Now, I want to this when you're creating object, your interpreter will create internally one constructor. If I want to create my constructor explicitly, what I have to do, I have to use a init function. The init function stands for creating constructor. If you are not giving this def underscore init, your when you're creating object, the Python will internally create a one constructor. Constructor means to create object. You can write over here. Constructor means constructor is for creating object creation. Constructor is for object creation. If you are not creating any constructor, the constructor, sorry, that is not construction, it's constructor. Insert symbol is constructor. Where is the insert keyword? Yeah, constructor for object creation. If you are not creating constructor, your interpreter is going to create constructor implicitly. Okay. Now I'm going to create a constructor explicitly using init function. Okay. In the constructor, definitely you have to pass the call instance. You have to pass. You have to pass the. You have to pass the instance. You have to pass the instance. You have to pass instead of self. What you have to substitute? M you have to substitute, and then for this object, you have to substitute en.
Then
Okay. Now in the constructor, before going to constructor, you should know the priority. You should know the priority. Once the class gets loaded, the first preference for static event. The first preference for static event. Whichever you are using static keyword, for variables, for methods, you can use static keyword. For that static only, memory will be allocated first. Memory will be allocated first. Second preference for constructor. What is the constructor? For object creation. Without constructor, you can't able to create object. You can't able to allocate memory. Once you create an object, you can able to allocate a memory for the particular object. Without constructor, you can't able to create an object. Once you start creating an object, you have to allocate a memory for that particular object. These are things we have to do in the things. That's everything constructor will take care. Now, whenever you are creating a constructor, the first parameter you have to use a self keyword. We have to pass first parameter is self keyword. Without passing the self keyword, it will throw the compile time error. You can see. Definitely you have to pass self keyword. Now, what I'm going to do, already said to you, whenever the class gets loaded, first preference for static keyword, second preference for constructor. Second preference for constructor. What I can do, wait a minute, I'll create a separate class for constructor. Okay, take this. Yeah, I can have a weight like 200. Yeah. I will create one more py file. Constructor create constructor initialization. Now I going to create one class. The class name is fruits. And now I'm going to create a constructor explicitly. Constructor, what function I have to use? Init. And then whenever a class gets loaded, first preference for static in this class, any static keyword is there? No. Till now, no static keyword is there. And then second preference for constructor. In the class, any constructor is there? Yeah. Second line, you have a constructor. This constructor has second preference. The memory will be allocated for the constructor now. Once the memory is allocated, then only you can able to create an object. The constructor only for object creation. Now, what I going to do? Self dot. Wait, hold a minute. I'm going to have fruits. What I'm going to have? I'm going to have color, and then I'm going to have weight. Okay, these are the properties for your fruits, right? Now I'm going to have self dot color equal to, I'm going to hotpot something, value is red, and then self dot weight equal to in kg, somewhat like 1 kg. Now can you help me in creating object for the fruit class? How to create object? How to create object for a particular class? First, what you have to do? You have to have your own one class instance. You have to do, okay. You have to keep some x or y. Okay, this is a class instance. For your understanding, I can write over here. That should be a class instance. It should be unique one. Class instance, and then they will have another name as well. Instantiation. Instantiation is nothing but object creation. Instantiation. Sorry, instantiation. Instantiation nothing but meaning is object creation. If someone is asking to do instantiation, you have to think like you have to create an object. You have to create your object. Now, I want to create object. I given some class instance, and then I have to call the class name. By using this brackets, I can able to create your object for this particular class. In the class, I have what I have. I have constructor, and then I'm going to have one method, calculate fruit price. Calculate fruit price. Okay, and then I'm going to use one return keyword, and then I'm going to have based on the weight I can able to calculate the price, right? Self dot weight into 20 rupees. 1 kg equal 20 rupees. And then in the class, what I can have? I can have constructors, I can have methods, and then I can have variables. I can have variables. I can have variable name as shop name. Shop name is somewhat AAD, fruit shop. AAD, fruit shops. The class can have variables, methods, and then have constructors. For this entire class, I going to create a object. For this, if you want to create an object, definitely memory has to be allocated. Then only I can able to create an object. Now I created the object for this. Now I create the object for this. I already said to you one point. I said to you, if without the help of constructor you can't able to create object. That's why I said the interpreter will internally create a constructor to create object. Now I have explicitly created this constructor. If I call this constructor, hold a minute, self dot color, I'm going to print. If I run this method, whether it will give output or not. Think the thing very carefully. Without constructor, you can't able to create object. Constructor for object creation. Okay. If I am not using this constructor, Python will internally create a constructor, will invoke this init method, and then will create an object. Now I explicitly create this constructor. In this constructor, I passing this two parameters, color and weight. If I run this code, whether it will provide an output or not. I'll give one more hint to you. Whenever the class gets loaded, the memory will add to static keyword. Second reference for constructor. In this class, there is no static keyword. I have only constructor. Now, for this constructor, memory allocated. If I run this code, what will happen? The color is going to be printed. The color is going to be printed. Hold a minute. Why it's getting fruits? Fruits. Yeah. I made a blunder mistake. Whenever creating an object, this constructor is going to create a object for me. In the constructor, I have passed two arguments, right? Color and weight I passed, but for creating though it's my fruits of bracket is going to be a constructor. This constructor is going to create object for me. I want to pass two arguments. What argument I have to pass? Color and weight I have to pass. Color will be somewhat the ways I can do one thing. I will remove as things of now. Okay. Now it won't give any compile time error because I have created only no parameters constructor. It is a no parameters constructor. I have not passed any parameters over here. Only self keyword is there. It is going to refer only the class instance. I have not passed any parameter. It's nothing but a no parameter constructor. No parameter constructor. If I run this code, I'll get the output as red. You can see. Because the first preference was static keyword. Second preference for constructor. Without the constructor, you can't able to create an object. Whenever class gets loaded, first you will see static keyword. Static keyword is not there. We'll go for second preference. I have constructor. Inside the constructor, I have used what? What I have used? Print statement. That's why it's printing red. Now you have to say, in my class I have one static method. Now I have one static method. If I creating object for this, if I run this code, once the class gets loaded, the static will get the memory because it has the first preference. Second preference for constructor. Okay, second preference for constructor. That's why it's printing the value as red. Now I'm going to remove this value. You might have a question. Can I pass parameter for constructor? Yeah, you can pass. Before that, I want to say some difference. I'm going to create another object. I want to change the color and weight. Color to orange. Weight equal to kg. Can I able to change? Can I able to change in runtime? For this object, I want to change the color and weight as color is orange, weight as 2. Can I able to change? No, we cannot change. That's why I passing the parameter color and then weight. Now what I going to do? Self dot color equal to color and then self dot weight equal to weight. Now if I call this, if I run this method, it will throw compile time error. In the fruits, I have to pass 2 arguments. Self is nothing but class instance. Instead of self, you have to pass x value. Now substitute x over here. X dot color equal to color. This color will be the parameter. Definitely, I have to pass the parameter. The color I am going to pass red, and then weight equal to 2 kg. If someone calls this method, how to call the method? I want to call this method. How to call this method? How to call this method? I have created class instance. Using class instance name, you have to call x dot calculate fruit price. Whether I want to pass the argument here over here, can I want to pass the argument here? Can I have only self? No need to pass, because this call instance will be substituted over here. Instead of self, what am I going to do? I'm going to pass this x over here. Now the x dot weight will be, what is x dot weight? The constructor will be loaded first. Will be loaded first. Once it get loaded in memory, I given the value as red over here. Instead of self, I'm going to pass x. X dot color equal to red. Now same thing, can pass x value
Stop. Wait.
substitute over here. X dot weight equal to 2 kg. Now whenever a class gets loaded, these values will be stored in the memory. These values are stored in memory. That's why I'm directly using self dot weight here. I've shown here as first preference for static keyword, second constructor. Once the class gets loaded, it will be stored in memory. From the memory, what I'm trying to do, I'm using self dot weight. Now what is self dot weight? Self dot weight value is 2. 2 into 20, 40. It's going to print 40. Make it mute. Now I'm going to create another object. Orange. Okay, weight is 5 kg. How to call the method? Calculate food price. How to call? Calculate food price I want to call. How to call the method?
Y dot.
Y dot, and then we want to calculate fruit price. Whether I want to pass any parameter over here for calculate fruit price. No need to pass, because this class instance will be substituted over here. Inside you have self. Instead of self, you have to substitute y. You have to substitute y. Now you have to say what is y dot weight. You have to say what is y dot weight.
100.
What's the value? What is weight value? Y dot weight. Substitute this y in the self keyword. Y dot color equal to orange, and then substitute this y in self keyword. Y dot weight equal to, what's the weight value now? 5. Okay. Now now I'm going to call this method. Now what are going to happen? So y dot weight will be 5. 520. I'm going to get 100. For 2 kg, the apple price will be 40 rupees. For 5 kg orange will be, the price will be 100. This is how you have to use a self keyword. Self keyword used to refer the current class instance. Used to refer the current class instance. I can make a note over here. Self keyword used to refer the current class instance. Because I'm referring this current class instance instead of self keyword. Now you're going to say to me, okay, now I'm going to create one more constructor. Okay, init subclass. Okay, I will. Okay, init subclass is the right. Okay, using class values you can do. Okay, let it be. What I going to do? I going to remove this constructor. I'm going to have in a notepad. I'm going to remove the parameters. Color I going to give red. Weight I going to give 20. Weight I going to give 20. Whether in the constructor I have to pass the values or not. You have to say. Right. Okay. Constructor initialization, right? I can copy and then I can paste it over here. Initialization. Two. Okay, now I'm going to remove the parameters and then I'm going to hard code this value. Color equal to somewhat red and then weight equal to somewhat 10 kg. And then I'm going to remove all these things. If someone asking you what is self keyword, you have to say self keyword used to refer the current class instance. I'm going to get object. Want to create an object. Going to use fruits. Now my question is whether I want to pass the argument or not for creating object. Look at the constructor and see the answer.
Yes, we need to pause.
No need to pass any parameter. Look at the constructor carefully. In the constructor, what I used?
Okay, you have
Only
already.
self keyword. This class instance will be mapped to self keyword. Okay, no need to pass any parameter. Any parameter. Now I'm going to call this method. I have to use a class instance. Instance means for this class I created object. I just nothing but a class instance. Dot calculate fruit price. For example, I want to calculate for the 40 kg. Can I will do? I want to calculate the fruit price for 40 kg. Can I will do? Using this method, can I able to calculate the price for 40 kg? Wait, I want to make it as 40 kg. 40 and 20, I'll get some value, right? Can I able to change this value? You have to answer. I want to calculate the price for 40 kg, 120 kg, 140 kg. I want to calculate all these prices. Can I able to?
Yes, we can do it.
We can't able to because you are hard coded as 10 kg. You are hard coded as 10 kg. That's why you are passing the parameters in the constructor. Once the object is created, the value will be stored in the memory. And runtime you can change the values. And runtime you can change the values. But here you can't change the values. It's hard coded actually. Whenever calculating the calculate fruit price, it's going to calculate only for 10 kg. It's going to give 200 because the weight is 10 10 into 20. It's going to give 200 as a price. But I want to calculate for 40 kg, 120 kg, and 140 kg. It's not possible actually because you're hard coded. That's why you're using the parameters. That's why you're using the parameters. If I use parameters, I can able to change the value for any objects. Color, and then I can go into give it as weight. Now, in this, actually, this constructor, it's actually constructor. This constructor is going to call this init method. The init method will allocate the memory, and then it's going to create object for you. Okay. In this constructor, whether I want to pass the parameter or not, it's going to call an init method. In the init method, how many parameters are there?
Yes, we want to pause.
Only two parameters are there. You should not consider the self keyword. Self keyword is mapped with this call instance, class instance, sorry, mapped with the class instance. X will be substituted over here. You have to pass only color and weight. Okay. Now I am going to calculate for 40 kg. What am I going to do? So I'm going to
We do
pass
40 here.
40. If I want to make it for 120 kg, I can give 120. If I want to make it for 140, I can make it 140 kg. The price is 2,800 rupees. Now, like this, you can create n number of objects. That's why we are passing the parameters. Once you pass the parameter, the constructor in the memory, it will be stored as because once the class gets loaded, it will for static keyword. Next preference for constructors. And the constructor, what is going to happen? It's going to have all these values in memory. The self dot. Self dot means class instance x dot color equal to color value will be stored in memory, and then x dot weight. X dot weight means class instance dot weight equal to weight value stored as 140 in the memory. Okay. Then whichever you need, whenever you need, you can able to access those variables. You can access those variables. Now we're going to calculate for the 140 kg. It's going to give 2800. I can create n number of objects like this. I can be able to create n number of objects like this. I'm going to for PV the kg will be 20 kg. And then how to call this method? How to call this method?
Y dot
Y dot.
calculate fruit price.
Don't say Y. You have to say it's a class instance. For
Okay.
the class, I have created this object. Okay, for this fruit class, I created the object. This is a class instance. You have to say class instance dot get fruit price. I want to pass any arguments. Sorry, I want to pass any parameters over here.
No need.
No need to pass any argument, any parameters because this y is a class instance. This y will be substituted over here. Now you going to find y dot weight. Y dot weight will be 20. You might have a doubt how we getting y dot weight. If you call this calculated fruit price constructor, it's going to call this init method. In the init method, I want to pass two parameters. Wait a minute. I want to pass two parameters. The first parameter is kiwi, that is going to color. Now, pass this y over here, y dot color equal to kiwi, and then y dot weight equal to 20. You have to substitute the weight. Now, y dot weight will be 20 equals stored in memory. It is stored in memory because constructor having second preference, having second preference. If someone asking you fruits of bracket, what is it? You have to say constructor. Okay, you have to say constructor. It's going to call this init method. This is explicitly I have created the constructor. I have passed some arguments, color and weight. In that parameter, I have pass kiwi and 20. The kiwi will be color and weight equal 20. For self, no need to pass any parameter. No need to pass any parameter. Okay. Now I'm going to calculate the kiwi price will be for 20 kg. The price will be 400 rupees. Now you might have a question. Just pass three parameters. What is going to happen? For the self, pass some parameter. Let's see what going to happen. I'm going to pass 30 over here. How many parameters are there? Three parameters are there. Here also three parameters are there. I already said to you for self keyword, no need to pass any parameter because self is nothing but class instance. Whoever calls this method, definitely they will use a call in class instance. Sorry, they will use a class instance. The class instance will be substituted. Why will you substitute over here? Particular object class instance will be substituted. Now, if I run the script, what happens?
Okay. Takes 3 position arguments, but 4 were given.
Why it's saying 4 are given? Why it's saying 4 are given?
Including
We get type error. We get a type error. You see, it's going to whenever call this fruits is actual constructor. It's going to call this init method. You can see, right? It's going to call the three. It's going to call the init method. Init method. It will take only 3 positional arguments, but 4 were given. What it's doing? It internally passing. Internally passing. Internally passing. What is passing internally? It passing the self keyword. The self will be y as instance. Now, how many arguments are there?
4.
Self. How many arguments are there? 4. But what it's saying is the init keyword having only 3 positional arguments: self, comma, car, comma, weight. Okay. But you might have a question. What question is? Can I pass self over here? No need to pass any self over here. Automatically, this class instance will be substituted over here. That's why if you pass two parameters, it will consider as 3. Your interpreter what will do while doing compilation, it will internally add one self keyword over here. If you are passing apart from self, you are passing any argument, it will say 3 positional arguments are there, but 4 were given. What will think? It takes 3 parameters, and then again it will what a compiler will do? Add one more self keyword. That's why it's showing 4 were given. Okay. Remove this 2. Now it's going to calculate the true price. Whether you understood or not, why it's asking for 4 positional arguments. The interpreter what will do? It's going to add one self keyword internally. Then here we have 3 keyword. See 3 parameters. Here also you have 3 parameters. Then it get matched. If you are passing one more parameter over here, what you will think? It's internally going to add one more self keyword. Probably have 4 parameters, but it is taking only 3 positional parameters. It will say. Okay, that's why you're getting the compile time error. Remove this 20. Let's pass EVN 20. If you have some method, in the method you having some self keyword, whether you will pass argument for this, otherwise I'm saying like this. Now you're going to say, I'm going to call this method x dot to price. How many parameters I want to pass? For calculate fruit price, how many parameters I want to pass?
No need to pass.
How many parameters? 1 or 2?
For this, no need to pass any arguments, I think.
See, for calculate price, you have to pass one parameter. What you have to pass? Price you have to pass. For self, no need to pass because the class instance x will be substitute over here. You have to pass additional parameter called price. 30. Now, the weight is 140. 140 into 30 will get the corresponding results. 4,200. Now, I'm going to add one more. I'm going to calculate size as well. Now, how many parameters I want to pass?
2 parameters.
For calculate footprint, I want to pass 2 parameters. I want to pass because your interpreter will add internally one self keyword over here. Then only it gets matched. Okay. Now we have to pass. Size will be somewhat I'm giving 2. It's going to give 8,400. Okay. If someone asking you, is Z equal to fruits? For this fruit constructor, how many parameters I want to pass? Look at the line number 10. For this fruit, it's a constructor actually. For this constructor, how many parameters I want to pass?
2 parameters.
2 parameters. Why not 3? Why not 3 parameters I can pass? Because your
Self.
interpreter will add one
Okay.
self, and then you have to add only color and weight. Color equal to somewhat how to say rows, and then weight will be 23. Okay, no, that then only this three parameter gets matched. Okay, no need to pass any self keyword that your interpreter will take care. Okay, you have to pass 2 parameters. You have to pass. You can create n number of objects. Okay, and then when you're creating object, and then you can initialize your values in the variables. Can initialize your values in the variables. And then two more things I want to discuss with you. Self is the first argument. If you take any constructor or any method, self is the first argument to be passed in the constructor and instance methods. If you don't provide self keyword, definitely it's going to cause an error. It's going to cause an error. Okay, and then you may have one more question as well. What question is, instead of self, can I use some variable name? Yeah, you can use some variable name. I'm going to give m dot color. Now, if I call this method x dot calculate food price, okay, what value I going to get? Whether I going to get 8,400 or I going to get some other value? I remove the self keyword. I use some variable names m and then m dot color, m dot weight. Okay, what going to happen? I'm going to sign off the session as of now.